Peter Jackson. What the f, man?
You were the chosen one!
I just finished rereading The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, first published in 1937. This particular copy is the 50th anniversary special edition published by Houghton Mifflin, handed down to me by my Aunt Kathy. It's got a beautiful gold hardcover and comes in a protective sheath. I adore this book. It's one of the greatest fantasy novels ever written, and I read it for the first time I think when I was 11 or 12, and I instantly fell in love with it. Anyway, I was planning on rewatching the Hobbit trilogy by Peter Jackson after reading this, and I just couldn't.
It's no fair. It's no fair. It's against the rules.
I have seen the movies. I saw all three of them when they were first released in the theaters, and I remember being really excited for them because I am a huge fan of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy that came out in the early 2000s, and when I heard that he was going to be directing the Hobbit series of movies, I was really excited. However, when I heard that it was going to be a trilogy, I started to get worried. After seeing the first movie, An Unexpected Journey, I was cautiously optimistic for the trilogy. I remember being pleasantly surprised by the first movie. I didn't love it by any means, has a lot of flaws, but I thought the cast was great and it was a fun movie, and I was actually excited to see the next one. However, after each subsequent installment, my opinion of this trilogy sank lower and lower. There's a great series of videos called Why the Hobbit Sucks by the YouTube channel Just Wright. It goes into a lot of depth about the problems with the movie trilogy, like the poor character development of the dwarves. Anyway, I highly recommend that you check those out. This book did not need to be a trilogy. It was clear to me that breaking this book up into 3 separate movies was a cash grab move by the studio. To put it into perspective, my copy of The Fellowship of the Ring is 395 pages. It got 1 movie. The Two Towers, 337 pages, 1 movie. The Return of the King, not including the appendices, 293 pages, 1 movie. My copy of The Hobbit, which has larger print, is only 311 pages, and it got 3 movies. Normally when a movie's based on a book, a lot gets left out that's in the book so they can fit it into a 2-hour time frame. Not in this case. In this case, they just added a bunch of stuff that's not in the book at all so they could fill 9 hours of screen time. For example, the evil goblin Azog, the arch nemesis of Thorin, who does add more drama to the movies, he never makes an appearance in the book. He is mentioned 1 time as the goblin that killed Thorin's grandfather, but that's it. He's actually dead before the book's events even begin.
Witchcraft.
Radagast, the brown wizard played by Sylvester McCoy, has no role in the book. He's briefly mentioned as Gandalf's cousin, and that's it. And he has a ton of screen time in the first movie, and quite frankly, I found his parts kinda boring and uninteresting. And the whole side plot of Gandalf meeting with the White Wizard Council and then eliminating the Necromancer, that's only briefly mentioned in the book as well, and this was obviously added only to bloat the story and add to the runtime. The characters of Legolas and Tauriel are not in the book at all, and the romance between Tauriel and Keely is completely made up and unnecessary. This never happens. And the battle along the waterway with the dwarves and the barrels never happens. In the book, they just float down the waterway with no one chasing after them. It's kind of a fun scene, but it's so damn computerized, which brings me to my main complaint about this movie: the overuse of CGI. What made the Lord of the Rings trilogy so amazing was the use of practical effects shot on location with a lot of extras, making it more real. And Jackson basically abandoned this in The Hobbit, and it honestly just comes across as lazy. Every scene has this strange, glossy-looking artificial glow to it. It doesn't look any bit real like the Lord of the Rings trilogy did. The Battle of the Five Armies, which was my favorite part of the book, just looks like a huge cartoon battle. Not to mention it features this ridiculous scene. I will give the movie some credit where credit is due, though. Bringing Ian McKellen back as Gandalf was a no-brainer. I mean, he is the epitome of that character. Also, Martin Freeman as Bilbo, I thought was a great casting choice. He embodied that character pretty well. And Smaug, the dragon, is phenomenal looking. It is the best looking dragon that I have ever seen on the big screen. And Benedict Cumberbatch, who does the voice, along with some work by some sound technicians, just brings such a unique voice to that character.
I am almost tempted to let you take it.
Well, if you can't tell by now, I am not a fan of these movies. These movies do no justice to this book. It should have been one 3-hour-long epic movie. And the book, while it wasn't as fun to read a second time around, especially now that I'm a lot older, I still remember the first time I ever read it was just a magical experience. And if you are interested in getting into reading fantasy novels, especially if you're young and you're looking for a good introductory fantasy book, you cannot go wrong with The Hobbit. It is by far way, way better than those stupid trash movies. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my points? Do you actually think that the movies are better than the book? I'd be interested to know. Comment below, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like and share, and stay tuned for more videos in the near future. See you later.